concerning to me is right now, fighting in the streets, riots, escalation. You've got calls from former politicians, Adam Kinzinger, for Newsom to order the National Guard in California to defy Trump effectively. And then you have the issue of Democrats using non-citizens to bolster their political power at the federal government.
In this video, we're back with Tim Pool on Timcast IRL. Tim Pool and his guests discuss the possibility of a civil war in the United States. With that, let's watch Tim Pool warn the left of what their nonsense is leading to.
From Fox News, 148 Democrats back non-citizen voting in D.C. as GOP raises alarm about foreign agents. I kid you not. Republicans wanted to ban non-citizens from voting. Democrats said, we don't want to do that. Democrats in numerous jurisdictions like in California and in New York have already passed or tried to pass non-citizen voting. That's the end of your country. The moment non-citizens can vote, they will start voting in the interests of other non-citizens. It's worse. A Democratic lawmaker in Minnesota says her family fraudulently came to this country and fraudulently gained U.S. citizenship, and now she's a Democratic representative in Minnesota. This looks like it's going to get really bad. Now, Donald Trump can take some action. He is taking action. The question is, will he take enough action to actually quell this? If he does, what will Democrats do? To talk about history and what's going on, we've got, let me pull this up. We got Rudyard Lynch joining us. Let me get the camera set up and everything running. Usually takes about 3 to 5 seconds to get it to boot up. And I think we are booted up. It is currently loading. Uh-oh. It appears to not be working. Well, sometimes that happens. What can I do about it? Let's see if the, there we go. We got him. It's cleared. Rudyard, can you hear me?
I can hear you loud and clear. Can you hear me?
Indeed, I can, sir. Thank you for joining me. Do you want to just give a quick introduction as to who you are and what you do?
Hi, thank you so much for having me as well. I'm Rudyard. I run a YouTube channel called What If I'll Test, which talks, I like to say, human nature across context. So politics, anthropology, history, that stuff. I've been on this show a few times already, and I'm widely known for my prediction that America will have a civil war in the next few years.
Me too. Continue. Sorry. You were going to say something.
Okay. With the events in Los Angeles, it's really worrying. And this was something I thought would happen, where if you check my channel from a few days ago, a day or two before the Los Angeles riots, I said, will the left use the Trump-Elon divide as a way to basically agitate? And I had options in a big way.
I say it all the time, but this is nuts. What are we even talking about? How is non-citizens voting even an issue? I can't even think of an argument that the left can make that would make this make sense. The only thing they ever lean back on is some of them pay taxes and don't get anything out of it. Okay, well, we want them out of the country. I don't care about what taxes they pay. They broke the law to get here, and now we're going to reward them for breaking into our country illegally? What is this? I think there was a subtitle on the article he was looking at that said, like, a certain number of Democrats didn't go along with allowing non-citizens to vote. I mean, you know, I've got no love lost for Democrats, but the ones that did at least deserve not praise, but just but at least a wink and a nod. Like, thank God you're not as insane as the rest of your party. And I don't know who they are. Some of them might be nut jobs. But on this issue, I have to believe that for 99.9% of Americans, this isn't even a question. Sorry, sorry, I'm just stunned by this. I've heard about it before, but I guess just hearing it's just, I know I sound kind of like I'm stammering at a loss for words. I really am. Like, how is this even a thing? Like, you would think one lawmaker would say, maybe we should let non-citizens vote. And regardless of party, everyone would be like, what are you talking about? But there are actually that many Democrats that support it. Well, if you ever question their intentions about why they want illegals here so badly, other than the cheap labor for the corporate interests that they support, which they claim to fight against. It's to get more voters. They're hemorrhaging voters. The Democrats are a circus right now. They used to be able to count on black Americans like clockwork to vote for them. They're starting to realize they've gotten a pretty raw deal. So what letting illegal immigrants into the country, giving them a bunch of free stuff does, you're not liberating these illegal immigrants, you're controlling them. Anyway, let's get back to it.
And not at all. And a majority of my audience thought the left would agitate in a big way. And look where we are now.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually. I hadn't considered that. There had been ICE raids ongoing for some time. We had seen people resist ICE officials and ICE officers, but it hadn't gotten to this extent until that moment. I don't know if I could say they're related, but what I wanted to ask you, you have I jokingly said, I also have a prediction about civil war in the next few years. I have a prediction that we are on a track towards civil war, but I don't know if we ever cross the threshold or how long it might take. There's an argument that we're in a cold civil war, which I think might be fair. There are two political factions fighting for control of our government. What's concerning to me is right now, fighting in the streets, riots, escalation. You've got calls from former politicians, Adam Kinzinger, for Newsom to order the National Guard in California to defy Trump effectively. And then you have the issue of Democrats using non-citizens to bolster their political power at the federal government. So you've, on your YouTube channel, you've done a ton of research on all of these different conflicts, civil wars, revolutions. I know that obviously when you get violence in the streets, there's fear that it could escalate to a war. But what about the political nature of this? Democrats bring in non-citizens. They get counted in the census. They get extra congressional seats, extra votes in the Electoral College. That is a major point of this conflict right now. I'm curious if anything like that existed in other countries.
Aristotle once said that it's the marker of a tyranny that the government brings in foreigners because the foreigners have no investment in that society. That goes back as far as you have records. It's normally the case that a corrupt government will hire foreign slave soldiers. That happened in Islam. It happened in Greece and Rome. It happened in India. And we have a more PC, less predatory version of that, but it's the same dynamic.
So it's like, how much of this is like ancient Rome?
A lot. That's one of the biggest parallels I pick, especially there's lengthy civilizational cycles. The one that we're the closest to is around 100 BC with the fall of the Roman Republic, where Rome was split between two political parties. I have compared the optimares.
If you like watching videos like this one, like and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let's get back to the video.
To the Democrats, and then, the optimates to the Democrats and the populares to the Republicans. What happened, though, is that the populares, or the Republicans, spiral into cults of personality. And with the fall of the Roman Republic, the two parties failed. So you saw cults of personality like Marius or Sulla or Julius Caesar or Augustus, etc.
But that led to, 200 years of empire?
Yeah, the Romans controlled their entire known world for 600 years. Yeah. And so you had a century of on and off civil wars. The thing to keep in mind with the ancient and medieval world is we'll read about a single century in a sentence and we'll forget that almost the entirety of someone's life was peaceful. So you had a century which was mostly at peace with several civil wars. Then you saw a shift from Rome being a republic to a military dictatorship.
Do you think that's what's going to happen to us?
Yeah, I think so. I don't think America will be a democracy in the 22nd century, at least not a de facto one.
It's a long way for now. But what about in our lifetime? Do you see
as far as the LA riots, doesn't it seem like all the left does, because they certainly don't do anything that's in the best interest of the American people. But from my point of view, it just seems like they sit back and wait for unrest and use that opportunity to tear down our country. That figuratively and literally. They burn cities to the ground. I've said this forever about the Democrats. They don't build, they destroy. Especially the term progressive. It's so backwards. It's regressive. They want to take us back to the Stone Age. They have no ability to back up their ridiculous arguments and policy positions. So all they know is emotion and anger and hatred and opposing the other side. Many of them don't even know what they're opposing, but they're unhappy with their lives, so they want to make everybody else as miserable as they are. Anyway, let's wrap it up.
What are we going to call this? We're going to call this the Democrats or the Republicans? Do we call it the left and the right? You know, you had the in Rome, there were different words for those factions. Is whatever the right is going to win?
Yeah, I think so.
What does that look like? What's your prediction? Like, what happens?
So, right is going to beat the left because the left, I can't get over how much the left screwed themselves over ideologically. The left made a series of incredibly poor decisions that dooms their long-term strategic ability. In my opinion, the only way they can get out of this is by just devolving into being a corrupt, pandering, nigh communist organization, which is the direction we're seeing.
I'm glad he laughed when he said that, because it doesn't seem like we're that far off of that, because the way the Democrats behave now doesn't seem that far off from what he described. But we want to hear from you. What do you guys think? Are we on the verge of a civil war? Tim Pool talks about it an awful lot, like more than most. It comes up sometimes with other political commentators, but I don't know if this is his obsession or how realistic it is that this would ever happen. I never want to see it happen, but let's be honest, the right would win, if only for the fact that it's the only party that has any real men in it. So I'd feel very comfortable putting my money on the right. Let us know what you think in the comments. Anyway, as always, really appreciate you watching, and we will see you in the next one.